Hello. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. Normally I email Chris Ostrom and say, how many do we have? But I didn't do that this time, and wow, what a nice surprise. So thank you for answering the call. I'm Jeff Zinn, and I'll bring the cast out in a minute, but first I want to thank a few people. I want to thank Chris Ostrom, artistic director here. He's not here tonight, but I want to thank him for making the space available again. I want to thank Jim Carroll, who's really responsible for organizing these readings and for writing the play, and he'll be up here later for the talkback, so I'll bring him out. I want to thank Nick Ward, who's the managing director and who signed you in when you got here tonight, and Emily Pascucci, who is the stage manager tonight, who's in the booth running the lights. I want to thank Kevin Rice of Payamet, who's one of the sponsors of the event here, and most of all, I want to thank you all for coming. And for joining together with us in community. It's kind of all we can do now. Someone sent me a piece, a Substack recently, the title of which was something like, paying attention these days is like having surgery with no anesthetic. And it feels that way, right? I mean, we have to pay attention, and there's no relief from the pain. But here we are, and anyway, we're grateful to you for showing up. So now, without further ado, I'm going to bring the cast out. Come on out, guys. Carol Lynn, Nat Taylor, Nina Schussler, and Dennis Cunningham will be reading for you tonight. Thanks very much. All right. And let me try that again. Ban the Bans, a play in resistance to the banning of books, by Rachel DeWaskin and James Carroll for Writers for Democratic Action.
This hearing is called to order. We are convened, as you know, to investigate the infiltration of obscenity, racial hostility, and sexually deviant materials into our public library here in Hope County. Tonight we will cast our votes about whether we continue to fund a library that makes obscene material available to minors, and whether we continue to employ a librarian who crusades to keep pornographic materials on children's shelves. Please state your names for the record.
I am Alex Rowe, Youth Services Librarian, Hope County Public Library.
I am Bethany Ellis, a member of the council and a mom for Liberty.
Thank you for being here, and thank you all for showing up too. Alex Rowe, do you understand that we will be voting today on the future of the library as well as your position?
Yes.
We have some questions for you. What was your intention when you placed The Bluest Eye in your young adults section?
I thought it was an iconic coming-of-age story, and one that let young people engage in thinking about racial and gender oppression, as well as American history. Also, I grew up with that novel.
Let me guess, you turned out fine?
I think I turned out great, yeah.
Do you believe it's appropriate to force-feed children graphic depictions of sex and rape?
Force-feed children?
You've been sending children home with copies of the graphic novel Gender Queer, which I understand is called a graphic novel because of the graphic sex.
We put Gender Queer on the shelf in the YA section in the first place because we thought it was important for all kids to see themselves in books. We thought Kids who feel different should get to know that they are not alone.
We're not here to discuss feelings.
I'm talking about lives, real ones, which are at stake here. Kids need books.
You say we thought. Has your thinking changed? Because I see, according to your preliminary statement, that you removed genderqueer from the teen section.
I did, yes. I'm ashamed. I took genderqueer off the shelf after the third call to my daughter's school, after my tires were slashed, after someone emailed photos of my house. I'm tired. I'm scared. I also took down The Fire Next Time and Giovanni's Room. You would not believe what people say about me online, that I'm a pedophile, a monster. They want me to leave town, but I live here, have lived here all my life. I grew up reading in our library, and I need health insurance. I need my daughter to be okay. I need not to get any more death threats. So I took genderqueer off the shelf, but I put it in my desk in case a kid.
Hey, Mrs. Rowe,
Yes, Matt?
Mrs. Rowe, do you have any books that are about anybody like me?
Like you, how, Matt?
Well,
You can say anything here.
their body doesn't match?
I gave them genderqueer.
Despicable. That book is a level 4, absolutely inappropriate for minors. At Moms of Liberty, we stand for parental rights. Our children shouldn't be subjected to whatever material Ms. Rowe deems appropriate for them, including those with graphic depictions of homosexual sex.
Moms for Liberty? Didn't your organization have to apologize for quoting Hitler in your opening newsletter?
She's allowed to interrogate me.
You, of all people, should know we have a right to quote anyone we want.
I'm allowed to ask questions.
Miss Ellis, are you finished with your testimonial?
No. My child was traumatized by having to read endless material about racism and what you call injustice. He's 11, and the books in this district library are level 5, full of abhorrent content. I hope you'll all have a look at our detailed guide, Book of Books.
Is it your famous 111-page catalog of everything you want burned?
There is no fire here, just parents protecting our children from aberrant materials.
There's smoke, and I'd like to call another character witness, if I may.
State your name.
I am Maya Kobabe, author of Genderqueer.
What do you have to say for yourself?
Being the author of a heavily challenged book is stressful, and it wastes a lot of my time, but it puts me in very good company. I never, ever experienced my book to sit on a list beside Beloved, To Kill a Mockingbird, The Hate You Give, Speak, and Of Mice and Men.
Those books should be banned, and the library should be shuttered and rebuilt by people who actually care about keeping filth away from our kids.
Silencing people whose views contradict your own isn't caring. According to PEN America, 36% of books banned or otherwise restricted in the United States have LGBTQ plus characters or themes that recognize the equal humanity and dignity of all individuals, despite differences. Books including...
And Tango Makes Three by Justin Richardson and Peter Parnell. This Book is Gay by Juno Dawson. And yes, those books by James Baldwin, as it should be.
I'd like to call another character witness.
Exactly what kind of trial is this?
You're not the one asking the questions. Just state your name and then tell me, are you now or have you ever been affiliated with the Communist Party?
What? So It is that kind of trial. I thought it was 2025.
This is a timeless business. State your name.
William Mandel. I'm the author of Soviet Women, but I am not here to discuss my associations. I am here to resist this book burning.
This committee has the right to determine the loyalty of librarians and educators.
This is a book burning. You lack only the tinder to set fire to the books, as Hitler did, and I'm going to get that across to the American people.
You're dead. So, why are you here at all?
My work lives on. In spite of the best efforts of those like you to burn it.
I'd like to call another character witness.
State your name, and then tell me, are you now, or have you ever been, affiliated with the Communist Party?
I am Langston Hughes. I have written poems that speak of struggle.
Mr. Hughes, have you ever written a poem influenced by Marxist thought?
I've written poems influenced by hunger, racism, jazz, Harlem, the Mississippi.
Answer the question.
About the party? I never read the theoretical books of socialism or communism, or the Democratic or the Republican Party for that matter. And so my interest in whatever may be considered political has been non-theoretical, non-sectarian, and largely, really, emotional and born out of my own need to find some way of thinking about the whole problem of myself, segregated, poor, colored, and how I can adjust to this problem of helping to build America when sometimes I cannot even get into a school or a lecture or a concert in the South or go to the library and get a book out.
Forget it. This guy's dismissed. Too much trouble.
I call another character witness. Hey, thank you for being here. It's amazing of you to show up.
State your name.
I'm James Baldwin. I wrote Giovanni's Room and The Fire Next Time. I wrote what it means to be black and gay and alive in America. That offends people.
What offends people is force-feeding children identity politics.
Identity what? We live identities. You don't teach identity, you just honor it.
And you believe that children should read graphic depictions of racial hostility from times that they have nothing to do with? That they should be exposed to gay sex, to violence?
I believe that you think your pain and your heartbreak are unprecedented in the history of the world. But then you read. It was Dickens and Dostoevsky that taught me that the things that tormented me most were the very things that connected me with all the people who were alive, who had ever been alive.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Baldwin.
State your name.
I am Amanda Jones, Director of Educational Curriculum Support with LCA, the Library Collective of America. Our resource guides provide librarians everywhere with what they need to make distinctions among collections aimed at toddlers, children, teenagers, young adults, and adults.
Of the 2,532 bans this school year, 96% were enacted without following the best practice guides for book challenges outlined by the LCA, the National Coalition Against Censorship, or the National Council of Teachers of English.
We professional designers of recommended reading lists know that tailoring book availability according to readers' maturity and reading level is exactly what librarians do. And books like Gender Queer are not only appropriate for many young readers, but essential. We trust librarians to make appropriate selections and displays of books, and they do just that, heroically.
Maya, would you mind coming back a minute?
Maya Kobabe. We at Moms for Liberty have deemed genderqueer a level 4. No minors.
Have you read it?
I don't have to.
I'm here.
Has it been terrible to have genderqueer at the center of this storm? Are you okay?
Thank you for asking. It still feels vaguely surreal, and I'm not sure I've processed the ripple effects. The ripple effects I will feel for the rest of my career, but for now, I'm strengthening my commitment to writing stories centering trans, queer, and non-binary characters. Certain parts of the country may be fixated on censoring me, but I will not be censoring myself.
Don't worry, we got that covered.
It's not about you. We aim to censor all obscene language.
Obscene. As in, grab him by the pussy?
Oh, typical of you to shout that at a community meeting.
I'm not the one who organized that. You're silencing vulnerable people and giving the mic to those who actually say vile things.
37% of books, both fiction and nonfiction, that have been banned or otherwise restricted in the United States during the last 3 years are books about race, racism, or feature characters of color, including
The Story of Ruby Bridges by Robert Coles and illustrated by George Ford.
Letter from Birmingham Jail by Martin Luther King Jr.
Thank You, Jackie Robinson by Barbara Cohen.
In 1982, a plurality of the Supreme Court of the United States wrote in Board of Education, Island Tree School District Number 26 v. Pico, that schools may not remove library books based on narrowly partisan or political grounds, as this kind of censorship will result in official suppression of ideas.
The Suppression of History.
An overwhelming majority of voters in the United States support educators teaching about the civil rights movement, the history and experiences of Native Americans, enslaved Africans, immigrants facing discrimination, and the ongoing effects of racism.
Enough. State your name.
I am Howard Zinn. My book, A People's History of the United States, is often banned. History is not just triumph and virtue, but also tragedy and crime. That very complexity is what creates the possibility of nobility in human life. History should be seen through the eyes of those on the bottom, not the top. And that view includes great heroism and nobility. I want young people to understand that ours is a beautiful country, but it has been taken over by men who have no respect for human rights or constitutional liberties. Americans are basically decent and caring, and our highest ideals are expressed in the equal commitment to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The history of our country, I insist on this in my book, is a striving against corporate elites, corrupt politicians, and war makers, a striving to make those ideals a reality. And all of us, whatever age, can find immense satisfaction in becoming part of that. I love America, and I love the truth. So do you, young people.
You suggest in your book that the great Christopher Columbus initiated a genocide?
When Christopher Columbus arrived in 1492, there were between 5 and 18 million people, scholars differ on the estimate, living in what is now the United States and Canada. By 1897, at the end of the so-called Indian Wars, there were about 350,000 Native Americans left alive in North America. War, forced removal of populations, disease, kidnapping of children, and repeated violations of treaties meant to protect surviving indigenous populations resulted in the unjust deaths of something like 55 million people. How would you define genocide?
What you people want is for children like my son, born decades later, to feel guilty. You want librarians and teachers shoving radical interpretations down the throats of innocent children.
Kids should read history. Guilt is beside the point. Although why would a bit of national shame be such a bad idea? If we see where we went wrong in the past, we might make a better world going forward. Isn't that the point of history? It doesn't benefit us to avert our eyes from our own past or from books.
In 1969, the Supreme Court of the United States held in Tinker v. Des Moines Independent Community School District that students do not shed their constitutional rights to freedom of speech or expression at the schoolhouse gate.
But these are children. Children.
Children? What about the United States Naval Academy? Does the Brigade of Midshipmen need protection from so-called triggering ideas? Why were 381 books purged from the shelves of the Academy's Nimitz Library just ahead of Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth's visit to Annapolis in April 2025?
Our time is now. Power, Purpose, and the Fight for a Fair America by Stacey Abrams.
How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi.
Henry James and Sexuality by Hugh Stevens.
Transgender Warriors, Making History from Joan of Arc to RuPaul by Leslie Feinberg.
I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou.
Gender Queer, a Memoir by Maya Kobabe.
Not that again.
Yes, that again. Along with nearly 400 books, including, to cite one more, White Fragility, Why Is It So Hard for White People to Talk About Racism, by Robin DiAngelo.
What are you book burners so afraid of?
There's a lot to be afraid of. Books our children should not read, and words they should not have to hear.
Oh, right. Triggering words, flagged by federal agencies in 2025. To be banned by scrubbing them out of sight. Vulnerable, fetus,
Transgender,
evidence-based.
diversity, equity, inclusion,
To be replaced in every case and at all cost by uniformity, inequality, exclusion.
Don't act like we're villains just for trying to protect America's children, our own children, my child who is traumatized by what you do.
We must vote on whether to keep funding a library poisoning our community.
Abortion, accessibility, activism, advocates. When you hear this litany of fear spelled out, do you stand by it?
affordable homes, agricultural water.
Enough. Back to the matter at hand.
This is the matter at hand. Do you believe in freedom of speech? Should people be allowed to say what we want to say, read what we want to read?
Words are dangerous to our children if they're vile words. Books are dangerous if they're vile books. Ideas are dangerous if they're anti-family ideas.
Anti-family ideas like gender conformity, male supremacy, religious domination. Or how about the idea of whiteness? Another banned book at Annapolis, Dying of Whiteness, How the Politics of Racial Resentment is Killing the American Heartland by Jonathan M. Metzl. Killing the American heartland. Killing the American dream. That's dangerous.
Suppressing the freedom to read and denying access to literature, history, and knowledge are repressive and anti-democratic tactics used by authoritarian regimes against their people. Schools and libraries should be open to curiosity, discovery, and the freedom to read. It's the only way human beings have access to the real meaning of history, to the full possibility of creative inner lives, to empathy for others whose lives might seem impossibly different from their own.
Feelings and empathy again, please.
We're talking about consciousness itself and conscience, the sacred soul of every individual on which democracy itself depends.
Books and even words are tokens of what is actually being banned. At issue here is human freedom.
That's enough. No more filibustering by your radical crowd. I call the question.
If you defend us, the children in our community will lose access to books.
The question has been called. All who vote to defund the Hope County Library, terminate the contract of Miss Rowe, and start a library aligned with the values of this community, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. A majority of the board in favor. Okay? All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Do I get a vote?
Happily, in America, everyone still gets a vote.
For now.
She does not get a vote, not on her own termination.
In America, everyone still gets a vote.
Cast your vote, Miss Rowe.
On her own termination, she gets a vote. This is criminal.
I'm afraid, according to the bylaws, that everyone present gets a vote.
My vote is nay.
Of course, their vote is nay. Why shouldn't she get a vote in her own case? She is the defendant.
To banning more books, we say nay.
We have a tie. Standoff.
Can they vote?
Obviously not. They're not even members of the council.
They're members of the community.
According to our current bylaws, in the event of a tie, no action can be taken. Maybe we should open the vote to these gathered here with us.
You do that. You think these folks are going to vote with you?
You can't change the bylaws just to get your way. There's no way for you to shove this banning and firing down our throats, as you like to put it, at least not tonight.
For now, Ms. Rowe will remain in her role. And for the coming year, we will have no choice but to fund the Hope County Library. But Ms. Rowe, let me take this opportunity to say that we hope you've heard the concerns of the community tonight and that you will take appropriate action to address those concerns moving forward.
Take appropriate action, Alex.
What kind would that be?
Protest, refuse, resist, act. Line those shelves with books.
I will. I will support my fellow librarians.
Join the PTA.
Buy banned books.
Read banned books.
Book banned books at your book club.
Run for local school council.
Vote. Be the breakers everywhere, please.
Ban the book bans.
Act. We are writers for democratic action, and we approve this message.
You still have a vote.
Break ties.
Act.
Vote. The end. Take a bow, guys. Come on. Up. All right. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're just going to take a little bit of a break. I'm going to bring Jim Carroll up, and he's going to moderate the discussion. So why don't you guys go have take a seat somewhere in the house? And I also neglected to thank Chris Blood, who's here, who's doing sound support and also monitoring the live stream, which is going out worldwide. we have an immense audience of at least 47 people tuning in, and and if you are online and streaming and want to participate, you can comment in the chat, and Chris will relay your comments or questions to us. Jim Carroll, where are you? Let's get you on stage here. Here he comes. All right. Have a seat, Jim. Yeah, go ahead. You sit here. Hey. Thank you. All right. Let me get a mic. Emily, this is the, oh, you have it.
Yeah, I got it.
Emily has a wireless mic that she can walk around and offer to you guys when you want to make your voices heard. So, Jim, talk to us.
Well, first, I'd like to ask the cast members to stand up again wherever you are. Could you stand up again? Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And I have to obviously thank Kevin Rice for his tremendous support of this tradition. We have a tradition. I'm so grateful to be part of the Wellfleet community, the Outer Cape community. Your presence here is a resounding affirmation of all that matters most right now. I'm so deeply grateful to every one of you for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, I have to say a special word for the great Jeff Zinn, who has convened us now. This is the third time across the last year and a half. You may recall that the day after Donald Trump was officially nominated for the Republican nomination for president, in this space, Jeff convened you and your comrades to celebrate. It can't happen here again. It did. And then on April 19th, in this same space, Jeff convened you and your comrades for a celebration of the anniversary of the Battle of Lexington-Concord with Paul Revere Resists. And now Jeff has done it again. This magnificent kind of flagship operation of Writers for Democratic Action and his project, the Democracy Theater Project, which has these simple, not self-conscious, not self-aggrandizing, dramatic statements of the present problem, which are being rendered, which have been and are now being rendered by folks like us across the country. The band's is Writers for Democratic Action's participation in the nationwide National Banned Books Week, which begins today and runs through the next week with events of many kinds to oppose the banning of books and ban the bans, Writers for Democratic Action's piece of this, in California, in Maine, in Chicago, many, many places. None more special or elegantly produced as this. By now, everyone in Writers for Democratic Action, which is, by the way, an organization of about 4,000 writers across the country. Everyone knows that the Wellfleet Harbor Actors Theater is the flagship of this new tradition of resistance. And I have to add a personal note of gratitude to Jeff. Something I know that everyone in this room feels with me. The powerful presence of the voice of Howard Zinn, our beloved Howard Zinn. I've thought now and then how much we need Howard today, but the truth is we still have him, especially those of us in this community where he was such a beloved member and to which he was himself so gratefully dedicated. So what a privilege to be here with you all tonight. This very grim moment, but the grimness of it is what summons us. The grimness of it has the power of conscription. We're all being drafted. A lot of us are of an age, aren't we, to remember what the word draft meant. My old and dear comrade in the struggle, Ian Walsh, is here with me tonight with us. But the truth is, who would have predicted this? Now we're really being drafted. And we have no choice but to say, present. And that's what your being here tonight does and means.
There's no lottery.
And there's no lottery, no exemptions. And I'll just make one small point before opening it up to your thoughts, because the whole point of these simple one-act, 30-minute readings, stage readings, which are done in bars and living rooms, senior citizens, residences, you might know, those of you of a certain age, that one of the most powerful venues for the Democracy Theater Club are the retirement communities of folks around the country who are gathering tonight and this week to read this script together. But for me, I'll just lift up this one obvious thought, and it's nothing original. But it's why we're doing this and why we, Writers for Democratic Action, seized on the national resistance of book banning as an occasion to gather again and affirm our solidarity and our resistance. First, they came for the books. First, they came for the books. In 1242, King Louis IX, for whom St. Louis, Missouri is named, and known in my Catholic tradition as St. Louis, he convened a gathering on the plaza in front of the Hôtel de Ville, if you can picture it in Paris, City Hall. You've been there. Just a couple of blocks from Notre Dame. A gathering of Parisians to celebrate the burning of the Talmud, a despicable, demonic book. And the burning of the Talmud in that year was the beginning of the tradition of the burning of books. it's not a coincidence at all that on that same plaza in 1942, the Nazis gathered the Jews of Paris before taking them off to Drancy and from Drancy to Auschwitz. First, they came for the books. No. No. National Banned Books Week. That's why we are here this evening. As Jeff says, we have a microphone for you. We want to hear what you have to say. The whole point of this gathering is for us to be together, affirming our solidarity, because in our solidarity is not just our resistance, but our victory over this coup against which we're all standing. So please, I'm not exactly clear how the lighting is going and how you indicate or who's able to see someone who raises a hand.
Emily can see. Who? Yeah, there we go. Good.
So if you raise your hand, I think the folks with the microphone will be able to catch you. And please, all of you, tell us what you're thinking.
Oh, thanks. I just want to say that,
Louder, please.
I want to say that your strength in calling this a victory meeting is so quenching. You know, I don't really hear people say that very often right now, that we're gathered in a victorious moment. That really makes me smile rather than cry or say the F word a lot. I just want to say that Howard Zinn was my teacher, professor in 1980. So I guess I'm becoming a person of a certain age. And I just had no idea that we're banning so many books right now. I mean, I'm working in a public arena, and I was asked to make a display case. And I said, oh, what about, you know, Latino Heritage Month? And, oh, great idea. So I went on to one of the great sites. It might have been Zinn Education site or Teaching History. I can't remember. Anyway, and I printed out a female bio and a colored drawing and a male bio of Latinx people. And little did I know that the first person was transgender, and it talked a lot about HIV and AIDS awareness and fighting for human rights. And then I'm like, oh, I just put it up, right? I put it up in a school setting, and I'm only a part-time worker there, and when I went back, that transgender thing was gone. And I don't know. I guess I'm proud that I put it up there, and I don't know who took it off, but I don't
They took
know.
it down?
Yeah, I don't know who took it down. But all I know is that my mother did a First Amendment reading on Long Island, and I just feel like I'm so fortunate for people that educated me, and I guess I just want to try to be there for other people, but you've really turned this into a fucking victory march for me, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Madam, you've given us a new call to action. Put it up. Thank you very much.
Put it back up. Who else? Speak out. Yes, down here.
Where am I going?
Well, I never thought I would be this person, but I do believe that silence is consent. I live on a main street in a town, and I make signs and post them on my post office box. And I've been doing that since 2016. And some of the signs are, you know, I just say, I mean, what's out there now? The United States stands on the backs of the poorest. The United States stands, and things like that. But anyway, I have received a couple of envelopes in the mail, just addressed to my address, and it was with hesitancy that I opened them up. But in both instances, people have thanked me for my signs.
Nice.
So speak up. Speak up. If you're standing in line, wherever you are, don't be silent.
Yay.
Here, here. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for this forum this evening, and it's a pleasure to be amongst all of you who are here to rally the cry, resist, resist, resist. I've been to about, 14 different protests since early spring, and I have to tell you that every time I go there, I get verklempt like I am right now, because I feel like I am amongst my brethren. I am not alone. I am not downtrodden by legacy news. And it's just a pleasure to come forward, wave our signs and scream, hear horns beep for us. So I guess my point is, if you haven't been to a protest yet, make a sign and go, because you are going to feel like you are not alone, and you are not alone. Protest.
October 18th, I believe, is the next No King's Day. And there will be gatherings all over the country, and certainly on the Cape. People will be gathering at the Visitor Center in Eastham, I'm guessing, at various rotaries and Hyannis by the airport. And so, yeah, show up, whatever is convenient for you.
Thank you. I would like to take woke and spin it and make it awakenings. Because if we weren't banning these books and children were allowed to read them, eventually what you would have is a generation that would believe in all-inclusiveness. So that's all I wanted to say is let's take woke and spin it to be awakenings, because that's what would happen if today the books weren't banned.
Thank you.
Because I've put myself on a forced news blackout, I don't know the answer to this, but maybe you do. And that is, who has made this list of these banned books that include The Bluest Eye and all the ones you talked about, who is saying these are banned and they shouldn't be in our schools, in our libraries, in our bookstores?
The Book of Bans, as it's titled in the play. Jim.
Is that in
help.
Project 2025?
It's a great question. Who is behind the banning of books? Penn American Center issued a report last week that identified since 2021, 21,000 books that have been banned in libraries and schools across the country just in these few years. And the thing to note about that is there is no one figure behind this. What we're confronted with is a movement which has aspects to it as I perceive it. I'm no expert, but let me just say how I perceive it. There are threads that, well, I put it this way, there are legs on which the table of democracy stands. And one of them is how do we read history? Another is how do we come to common values about sexuality? Another is what is our relationship of men and women? And another is whose side is God on? And each of these legs is represented in the ways in which human beings have confronted the questions. And we've confronted the questions in our encounters with one another, but also on the page. And each of those legs represents a front in the terrible conflict we're involved with now. Sexuality, religion, history, democratic pluralism. So books that are too pluralistic, or books that are too ecumenical in attitudes about religion, or books that are not puritanical in their response to sexuality, or books that are reckoning with the complications of history, all threaten some aspect of the movement. It isn't just MAGA, is it? It isn't just Donald Trump, is it? No, we're at a threshold moment, aren't we? And we see this, there are elements of this happening abroad in other countries, especially the democracies of the North Atlantic. So we're standing against a movement that, for me, the shorthand understanding I have come to about it is a movement that has finally mustered the power, having been frustrated now for a couple of hundred years, to roll back the Enlightenment. In my view, that's what's at issue here. Roll back the Enlightenment. And the most important element of the Enlightenment, in my view, on religion, it's freedom of conscience. On politics, it's liberal democracy. On questions of gender and sexuality, it's the freedom of men and women to be who they are. And on questions of history, it's the importance of reckoning with the ways in which we have failed in the past, not to beat ourselves with guilt about it, but for the sake of making fresh and better decisions in the future. So I believe that this large existential issue is what's embedded in this simple American problem of book banning. That may seem at a level of abstraction, but it also might open us to what's at stake here. We have spent, speaking for my generation, us people of a certain age, we have spent our adult lives taking for granted the precious tradition of the Enlightenment. Hello, it turns out to be fragile and vulnerable. Religious intolerance, white supremacy, sexual puritanism, contempt for people who are different, contempt for women, all of that is at play now. And those who claim to be defending the sensibilities and sensitivities of our young people are actually desperate to prevent our young people from reckoning with the world that has been handed to them by the tradition of the Enlightenment. And those of us who've lived long enough to understand what's at stake in this, and this is why I celebrate the fact that there are so many gray heads in this room, we have a major obligation to defend what all these years we've taken for granted. Because younger people may not fully appreciate what's at stake here. We know. And that's why we're here tonight, isn't it?
I love being in a room of grandparents, grandmothers, and grandfathers. I want to bring this discussion local to the towns that we live in. And I want to say art saves us. And can the inner grandparent in you get involved in something in your town that introduces a kid to dance, to music, to being on the stage, to learning to speak, to draw pictures? Because that's how it happens. That's where it happens. And that's something that we can do. And the generation of kids that are living here on the Cape in such great, beautiful privilege, we need to create these opportunities, whether it's writing a check to donate to music lessons somewhere, or somewhere you could go and sign up to help in a group of young people. I'm even in favor of more baseball and basketball. And maybe it's not a paintbrush, but it's collaborating in enjoying life and growing brains and growing citizens.
And thank you, ma'am. That's such an important note to strike, the importance of our local experience. And what you make me realize, of course, is that we can't have this discussion without celebrating and expressing our gratitude and support for our local libraries. Think of it. Think of what we're getting. Think of what we're getting every day in the Wellfleet Library, the Truro Library, the Provincetown Library, Eastham, Orleans. Are we privileged people? Because the librarians that we all know personally and who are enabling not only us but our children and grandchildren to access the best possible books, we do not take them for granted. We salute them and support them, and we depend on them to let us know if they need our support in particular ways in this fraught time.
Yeah. I'd like to add, right here, to what you said, actually. I was very close. That theater, in particular, I think, is a way of conveying stories that have actually been written as books first, and that I hope that all the theaters in this community and in the country will perform plays. I just have a few that come right to mind. Inherit the Wind, To Kill a Mockingbird, obviously, and even I've known some communities apparently who have banned the Charlotte's Web, and there are so many stories that theater brings to life and that theater must continue to live in our communities, and all theaters need the support of the communities. And here is a bunch of people who obviously love this theater and love theater, and we need to nurture that in our children as well.
Over here. Thank you, Emily.
Hey, Jim and Jeff, thanks so much.
Kevin
Jim,
Rice.
Yeah, come on, please. Jim, as always, inspiring. And I got to note, this is all happening while there are deliberations in the establishment of a different kind of library, the Donald J. Trump Presidential Library. You wonder, you think that there are going to be very slim holdings there. And you know, I just have to say this because I've lived more than a year of my life in Russia, and they are, for all the things you may think about them right now, what's going on, they're bibliophiles. They love their books. And I was in a classroom in 1972 surrounded by Soviet students, and I put my books on the floor. And all the students, they were abhorred that. They said, oh my God, how can you put a book on the floor? It's just a beautiful thing to revere a book and a library. And it's part of our culture. And this tonight, I think this is a political action. I know that Howard Zinn would say that. Everything is political, and this is a political action tonight, and it's a very, very powerful one. Thank you. And just question, Jim or Jeff, have you recently read or reread Fahrenheit 451? I was wondering if that was part of your research or your thinking. You know, and as an action, it might be a great thing to read that.
I have not, but I will.
Yeah.
Say more, Kevin.
Well, in Provincetown, they read Moby Dick as a nonstop reading. Maybe we should read Fahrenheit 451 on stage here at the theater.
And
that's a thought.
It's about book burning.
Yeah.
Fahrenheit.
That's the temperature at which paper burns. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Anyone else? Chris Blood, do we have anything coming in from the ether?
Just some positive comments, no questions.
Okay. Keep it positive. It's online, so you never know.
I think.
Yes, sir. Oh, he does. Oh, my God. Speak out.
Just a couple observations.
Sure.
50 years ago, more or less this month, as a teenager, I went to school committee to protest a group of fundamentalist book banners. So it's not a new subject. The other observation I want to make is that if you're not woke, you might actually be asleep.
I think two short comments. One is about libraries and banning books in libraries, which you've made such eloquently vulnerable and important and brought our attention to it. But I do think that we have something else going on in our society, which is that children don't read. It's not just that they can't read banned books, it's that they don't read. And that the dangerous ideas that they get are not from libraries. Their dangerous ideas that they get are from living lives online. And I don't know how you can change that, except that the librarians and school teachers are trying to teach students to read. But there's a sense in which banning books is atavistic. This is what I'm saying. And I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Thank you. I was a reading teacher for decades. Your portrayal of the mother was right on target. Parents are afraid for their kids. They're afraid that their kids will form opinions and ideas different than their own, and they don't know how to handle that. So they ban the books. The woman said, "Oh, I never read that book," when she was asked in the play. So it's a perfect parenting moment. Read the book. Share the moment with your kid. Discuss it. Find out how your kid reacted to it, how their thinking is. Share your own thinking. You might be embarrassed by it because it'll be so narrow, but open it up. And don't be afraid if your child has an opinion different than your own. That's part of growing up. Thank you.
That's a, it's a wonderful point to raise late in our discussion, that we should understand in some important way the fears that folks bring to this question. All of us who are parents who are engaged with young people understand the delicate responsibility of introducing young people to the complications of life. That's clear. What's embedded in this discussion about book banning is the way in which we have the privilege and obligation of respecting the commitments, the intelligence, and the formation of our librarians. Librarians, and it was reflected in the script, librarians themselves are committed to introducing proper materials to young people in proper ways, and to have the obligations and responsibilities and commitments of librarians overrun by people with political agendas that have nothing to do with the actuality of the books involved is what we're standing against. We're not standing for the uncritical introduction of material to people who are not prepared for it. What we're standing for is the defense of this sacred tradition that is at the center of our liberal democracy, which is the trustworthiness and value of libraries themselves. And that's what's at stake here. Think of this, folks, think of this. If the library didn't exist, if it wasn't a gift to us from the 19th century, the public library, if it wasn't already established in our society, in our politics, is it even imaginable that our present American government would fund the creation of libraries? Of course not. We must protect libraries, which means we must protect librarians. They are the ones, like teachers, to whom we have entrusted our young people. And thank God for them. And that's the most important thing we're doing here tonight, which is sending a signal of support and backup, and yes, put it up to our librarians and the people we've entrusted with responsibility for books. I guess it's time for us to conclude. I'm deeply grateful to all of you for your comments and responses, and mostly for being here. And we've all gathered out of one sense or another. Think of it, you all made a decision to come here tonight. You could have been doing something else. We've all come here tonight because we got it. First, they came for the books. First, they came for the books. No. No. Thank you.
Jim.